I mentioned in a recent video that I'm currently in a pretty good groove with my training, so I wanted to make a video and take you through exactly what I'm doing and also why I'm doing it. Maybe then you can just get some ideas to tweak your own routine. Maybe you just want to copy exactly what I'm doing to the letter and not think about it. Or maybe you're just curious, you have absolutely zero intention of ever picking up a dumbbell because you like other stuff and you want to focus on your promising extreme pogo stick career, right? That's fine too. Now, as is blatantly apparent by how massive I am, lifting is of course the core focus of my training. I'm not out here like trying to go hybrid on everyone because I think running's like quite shit. So the resistance, aka lifting weights portion of my training will take up the majority of this video. However, I do appreciate the benefits of a fully functional cardiovascular system. I imagine life gets somewhat inconvenient without that, so I'll also touch on the cardio I do as well as some stretching because, you know, I just enjoy the chill psychological state one achieves when one's hamstrings under an appropriate level of tension. Alright, let's do it. I do still use a full body training split, which does not mean that I hit every single muscle group every workout, but it just means that exercises are grouped together in a way that ensures A, I'm not doing so much work on a single muscle in a single workout that some of it goes to waste or becomes a poor ROI. And B, I'm hitting each muscle often enough to make the most of the fact that it usually only takes a couple of days maximum for an experienced lifter to recover from a workout. So really, it's the best balance between how often you work each muscle and how much work you do each time you train it. Now, even within the remit of a full body split, you still have a lot of scope for flexibility. You could hit your chest for 9 sets twice a week, or for 6 sets thrice a week, or for 4.5 sets 4 times a week. Honestly, I think the difference between all three here would probably be pretty insignificant for most people because volume is equated throughout the week. Now, I do think that full body splits are marginally better than a PPL split, but I don't think the difference is going to be huge. PPL is definitely a good split if you just enjoy training that way. Alright, I'm going to show you my program using screens from the app that we just launched, but this is just a tool. It's just a convenient way for me to display things because this is what I'm using to follow the program. Now, obviously, I am going to give you a sales pitch about how sick it is, but I will save that to the end of the video in case you don't care and you just want to skip that part. That is also fine. So you can still see my program here and you'll be able to write it down in your notepad or just whatever you want to do. Now, just a quick note for anyone wanting to copy the program exactly. I generated this program based on these criteria. So things like your stress levels and your sleep can impact your ability to recover. So if you don't sleep enough and or you have high stress levels, you might want to think about just reducing that volume just a touch. All right, let's do it. So start off with day 1, that makes sense. I adapted this day just a bit to make sure that I could do it with the equipment that I have at home in this gym, right? So there's no machines in there, it's just free weights and cables. So I'm starting every week with a chest exercise. I feel like that's how the universe should work, you know what I mean? That sounds like a good plan to me. Let's move on. We got day 2, some legs, shoulders, and then we got some triceps, and then I'm going to try and take a rest day there and try and actually stick to regimented rest days rather than just saying, oh, I'll take one when I feel like it, because that in the past has led to me not taking enough. So I'm going to try and be a bit more structured with those. Day 3, we got incline bench and horizontal row as my main compounds. Then we got some chest, shoulders, and abs isolations. Day 4, we have my second main leg press movement of the week, this time a unilateral leg press. We got the second vertical pull, and then we got some calves and arms. All right, final day, day 5, we got the second shoulder press of the week, a hip hinge, a leg extension, and then my second lateral raise and ab exercise of the week. And then obviously after that, I'll take another rest day to total 7 days. That's a week. As you can see, I'm hitting most muscles twice a week, right? Chest here, you can see, has a frequency of 2, so it just means how often you train it throughout the week. Now, you could still do that and achieve that frequency with a push-pull leg split if you wanted to train 6 days, right? But you'd then be hitting shoulders on those days as well, and since there's so much overlap between your chest and shoulder movements, you're likely not going to get the most return on some of those exercises, right? It's probably not a huge difference, especially if you look at your gains over the long term, but this is probably one of the reasons that I just marginally prefer a full body training split. I do hit some muscles slightly more frequently, quads for example, I hit them 3 times a week just because I like doing my leg extensions separately to my leg press movements, but that's really just personal preference. Now, some of my rep ranges might seem a bit high. These are things that I've actually edited myself, right? I don't have any particularly heavy or low rep pulls, and my bicep exercises are usually set to 20. Now that's just because I've got some bicep tendonitis and going too heavy aggravates it, so I have to keep the weight a bit lighter, and that's another thing that I've adjusted myself from what the app originally gave me. Of course, I'm tracking all my lifts in-app and then just letting that take care of the progressive overload for me, so I'm not really thinking about that other than just logging what I use each workout. Aside from day 1 that I changed permanently, I'm still going to do some of the other workouts at home here. So where there's exercises that require equipment I don't have, I'll just swap out a like-for-like exercise during the workout. Some of my isolation movements like bicep curls or tricep extensions, they will change like automatically at pretty arbitrary intervals just for the sake of not getting bored, because they're not really exercises that have much of a skill component to them. My compound movements, on the other hand, pretty much won't change if I'm making progress on them. If I get to a point where I plateau and then I can't seem to get past that plateau, then they'll get switched out and eventually probably switched back in again. So for cardio, I play 7-a-side football twice a week, and that's really my fitness fix because it is genuinely like pretty intense. Like for some reason, when there's a ball involved, I'm able to push myself a lot harder than I could if I was just on a treadmill. I think if you play sport or find some kind of cardio that you really enjoy, it makes a huge difference, and my fitness has improved massively since I started playing football again, like maybe a couple of years ago now. And that will obviously also have a knock-on effect on my training too by improving my intra-set recovery. I do lift on the same days that I play football so that I can have a proper rest day the following day. I actually found that better than to rest from the gym on the days that I play football and then never really having a proper rest day. Now that's all the cardio that I do for fitness purposes. Now I will also jump on the treadmill for half an hour a couple of times a week if I feel like it, and then I'll just do a little bit of jogging and a hill walk or some kind of intervals and things like that. They're pretty random. That's just to burn a few calories, keep things sharp, and allow myself to eat a bit more really. If I wasn't playing football and lifting 5 times a week, I would probably include more cardio that has the actual focus of burning calories, but at this point, it's just not necessary. On days that I don't lift and or do actual cardio, I do try and just keep my steps up. Now, I wouldn't class that as cardio per se. But then again, I mean, you should see the pace that my girlfriend walks at. Trying to keep up with that is actually fairly taxing. Yeah, so I should really stop mentioning that I even stretch because it's truly embarrassing how inconsistent I am with it. I'm currently on a 5-day streak and something's convinced me that that's long enough to actually warrant including it in a video. Right, I'm gonna shout out Tom Merrick again because when I do stretch, I pretty much solely use his videos, so I'll link a couple of my favorites below. I mainly focus on my lower body, in particular my glutes, hams and hip flexors. I don't really have a set routine, but I do have a library of stretches that I tend to run through. A few of my favorite ones are this one for the glutes, this one for hip flexors, I think often quite neglected by people, and finally this one for hamstrings. I watched one of Tom's videos about learning to pike/pancake where he talks about this one. Now I'm very far off being able to do that, but I do think it'd be nice one day, so let's see. When I stretch, I usually spend about 30 minutes, which actually goes quite fast when you're holding stretches for 30 to 60 seconds. As I say, I try and do it every day, but I usually miss like a day or two each week, and occasionally I'll just go 2 weeks without doing any whatsoever. It's one thing that I'm trying to get better at, but it's hard, isn't it, when you're trying to get better at loads of different shit at the same time, and then you actually don't really get better at much, you know what I mean? Anyway, I think that's it. Alright, so that is my lifting, cardio, stretching covered. I hope you found it useful or insightful or helpful or interesting. Just not a complete waste of your time. That'd be ideal. It's a low bar, but it's what I'm aiming for with my videos. So anyway, if you want to check out the app, it's available on iOS now. Android is en route. It's coming soon, I promise. Top link in the description. You can get a 7-day free trial. just check it out. I could tell you about everything it does, but you might as well just check it out, right? Even if you want to use it to just generate yourself some programs and then cancel your subscription before you get charged anything, that's also completely fine, right? Also, out of everyone who likes and leaves a comment, I'll choose someone, give you a year free access, yeah? Because, don't know, it's just something that people do in it. So, I think that's my spiel. It wasn't too much of a spiel. I think it was inoffensive, as spiel goes, you know what I mean? Alright, see you later. Bye. Let's all get huge.
Jordy Lenny is my hero.